Hi, my name is Andrea Williams. This was my ghost story presentation on Lady Janet Douglas, who's also known as the Grey Lady of Glamis Castle. Her story. So for her story, she is said to haunt the historic Glamis Castle in Angus, Scotland. According to the legend, Lady Janet was accused of witchcraft and treason and was burned at the stake on July 17th in 1537. It's believed that her spirit still haunts and lingers the castle and its grounds. Her in most of the stories I read, her ghost appears as a gray figure, like a gray shadow. So when she was executed she was found guilty on 2 counts of treason as well as witchcraft. She had been charged with plotting against King James V of Scotland with his death and for assisting her brothers against him. She was executed on the same day that she received her sentencing. The very next day, on the 18th of July in 1537, her husband actually died in an attempt to escape from imprisonment in Edinburgh Castle. He broke his neck. Her son, who was the 7th Lord Glamis, was found guilty of concealing his mother's plot to kill the king, and he was imprisoned for that. It was not a good time for the whole family. Some believe that Lady Janet would not have been able to poison the king or assist in poisoning the king because she did not attend court. So it was more likely that most of her charges were for assisting her brothers in their revolting against the king. Regardless, though, her execution sent an unmistakable message to any possible rebellions. So for core features of her ghost story, she is a post-mortem apparition, so she only started appearing and her spirit only started being seen after her brutal execution. She is also a location-based apparition. I have not found any other stories of her being seen anywhere but that specific castle, and for the most part, the sightings of her were seen around the clock tower and around the chapel. For psychological explanations for this haunting, one possible one would be environmental factors, which would tie into the confirmation bias, but it is a hundreds of year old castle, centuries old. There's going to be shadows and things moving around and not well lit. So with the confirmation bias, which is the tendency to view information or experiences in ways that confirm pre-existing beliefs or pre-existing expectations. Basically, since people go here and stories are really well known about ghosts in this location, especially about Lady Janet Douglas, who is seen as a gray shadow typically, they may interpret shadows or objects and things seen from the corner of their eye to be her, which would confirm their beliefs and the ideas that they already had going in. This would also tie into cultural influences a little bit, with that those who grew up in the region or grew up hearing these stories may have had something similar happen, since they're more likely to have those things on their mind when they do visit these locations. For parapsychological reasons, one possible parapsychological explanation for these sightings would be ghost hypothesis, which is that like an entity may not have moved on to a possible afterlife, or that a traumatic event is associated with the location. Things that would explain like actual ghosts existing, both of which would definitely apply to Lady Janet Douglas because she had a very traumatic death. She could be possibly angry about it or feel like she has unfinished business. Another possible explanation would be survival hypothesis, which is the idea that something metaphysical might exist outside of the body, even if just for a short amount of time, including like apparitions and ghosts. It could be that this is actually the ghost of her. She may be haunting the grounds because it is the last place that she existed as a living being, as a mortal. Another possible parapsychological explanation for these sightings is the perceptual hypothesis, which is that under certain conditions people can perceive phenomena that are really present but they're not usually able to be perceived. So it could be tie into like the location base, that there might be something about this location that makes it where the ghosts are able to be perceived. One other, which would tie into the next one, which is place memory, which is the idea that the environment holds onto memories or it stores information that is retrieved through paranormal methods. Personally, I lean towards the explanation that it's kind of confirmation bias. The half of me leans towards that because there's a reason people continuously visit places, especially when they believe that they're haunted. And though many leave without any paranormal experiences, others will find and create meaning in things that they encounter while they are there, whether they created the meaning or the meaning was already there. That's what half of me thinks, but the other half would also really like to believe in ghost hypothesis to be the truth. I would just need to see more undeniable evidence to believe in it fully, though.